In this video, I'm going to give you a tutorial on how not to lose money in the roofing business. For your convenience, you can see the sideline below. You can skip to the section that might interest you. If you just started a roofing business, this is one of the most important videos you can watch. My name is Dmitry Lipinski. I started a roofing company in 2013 and I sold it in 2020. I've made every mistake in the book, including losing money some years. It is a very common thing to lose money in the roofing business, despite the fact that we are moving millions, and I will explain why. But first, I want to share this ad that I have seen yesterday that actually inspired me to make this video. So this ad is from some company, Certain Path, never heard of them, not endorsing them per se. They might be good, they might be bad. I don't know exactly what they do, but what caught my eye is this quote because it's from someone I actually know and met. Scott and Stacy Feller Kanga Roof. We did $6 million worth of roofing work, but we still lost money. Now we're paying bills ahead of time and have a great reputation with our suppliers. I've been there, I've done that. It's very common to mismanage money in this business and be upside down, get in a hole. For you not to be in that position, watch this video to the end. I promise you it will save you $1. First thing first, I want to talk about your pay. How much are you paying yourself? When I started my business in 2013, I was paying myself $1,000 per week. It was my absolute minimum wage. I had 4 kids at a time and I could not live on less. And my recommendation is take as least as possible from your business. On my first year in business, I did about $900,000. And at the end of the year, after I paid myself $52,000, I think I took a couple bonuses because we have extra expenses. I think my salary for that year, my take-home pay was about $60,000, but business made about $140,000. If you make a math, I made about $80,000 for the business. So by the end of first year, I have reinvested $80,000 worth of profit. So instead of paying myself $140,000, everything my business made, I only paid myself $60,000 and I reinvested $80,000. At the end of the first year, I had 3 trailers, 1 truck, 1 cargo van, and 1 smaller vehicle. And I started it with a Jetta with a $2,000 in my pocket. It's extremely important to be disciplined and not to take too much from the business. I promise you this, it will pay off later in your business life. But if you take everything from the business, business will never grow. My recommendation is invest in your business, work on your business, and later your business will be working for you. Pay increase will come. And when it comes to paying yourself, I recommend increase your pay in a small increments. I have been increasing my personal pay by $100 per week every time I could do it. Every time my personal expenses were increasing for 5 years. I lived in a $150,000 property, small town home with 4 kids. My kids start growing, we need a bigger house. Of course, I'm gonna pay myself more, but it was never a burden on the business and I did not lose money because of it, because I started paying $1,100, $1,200, $1,300, but my business also have been growing. Next step is set up your QuickBooks. You're gonna watch 2 numbers for your entire business career. One is your bank account and another one is your QuickBooks account. They are not the same numbers. One is how much money you actually have cash in a bank, and another one, how much money is your business currently have after you pay all your expenses. This is one of the most important thing in business. That's why I even created QuickBooks course. It's about 14 hours. You can go to dmitrylipinski.com. 1 or 2 days, you will be through it. 10, I want to say it's 12 to 14 custom videos, but it's very, very important. It's absolutely mind-blowing how many people do not know their numbers. What would happen if you pay every single invoice and every single supplier and return money to every single customer who gave you a deposit, but you did not do the work yet? Many companies would go out of business today because even big companies in the roofing industry, unfortunately, pretty much running a Ponzi scheme. I know it's not exact definition of a Ponzi scheme, but if you're robbing Peter to pay Paul, if you're relying on deposits today to do yesterday's jobs, you're already upside down. And if something happened to your business and you have to return those deposits, you're going to be out. Now, what you do is you enter every single bill in your QuickBooks as it comes in. I remember calling my accountant, Janet, how much money do we have? I would have $350,000 in my bank account, but on the QuickBooks, it could be only $20,000. Why? Because if we pay ABC Supply, Beacon Supply, every sales rep his commission, in return all the money, I don't have money. I only have $20,000 to spend. You will be tempted to tap into your business account just because you have money sitting there. And that's why so many big companies went out of business, because they were relying on future receivables. They were a little bit delusional about progress of existing jobs and how good the company actually was. And then later, when sales slowed down or liability grew, overhead grew, they became upside down, and there's only so much you can do when you're in a hole. Once you get in that situation, it's a nasty one, and many go out of business. So sign up for QuickBooks, make sure you're on top of it and you're current. Make sure you register every single transaction, every single bill, so you know what's due, and your commission invoices, your supplier invoices as they come, especially if you get into credit cards and credit card debt and credit lines with the suppliers. Those are the most important bills, and I'll cover them later in the video. But make sure every single bill, every single liability get registered in a QuickBooks. Next, I want to talk about renting your office. What's happening?
This just came in.
Oh, wow. I've been waiting for this for a while. This is cute. Thank you, YouTube. Who would ever thought that you can get 100,000 subs on a roofing channel? Thank you to all who ever doubted me. Wouldn't be here without you. Thank you so much for that. It was all you guys. Now let's talk about renting your office. So many people think that renting is expensive and this is where you're gonna save money. I actually wanna argue with that. I have traveled to over 100 businesses, and I have traveled to a lot of businesses who recently have rented their first office. And I have never ever heard from any business owner regrets about it. Let me repeat that. Renting the office is not the problem. You will never regret it. You know why? Because your receptionist will pay for itself, so will your office, and your warehouse will pay for itself. Renting a warehouse is one of the smartest things you can do in a roofing business. You will save on materials, buying in bulk, managing returns. Yes, it's not a lot of money. Average rent varies from $2,000 to $4,000. That's fraction of your gross sales. So let's say you do $100,000 a month. What's $2,000? What's $3,000? 2-3%. You will save more than 2-3% on materials alone. If you're a good organizer, if you like systems, if you like process, if you like to buy in bulk, like I start buying in bulk right away. Buy a pallet of gutter guards, buy a pallet of underlayments. I mean, underlayment alone, if you're doing 2-3 jobs per week, will pay for that warehouse. Math is there because you will be saving $10-$20 per roll times 36. Every job you will be saving $150-$200 per job. If you're doing 3 jobs a week, that's $600. Times 4, that's $2,400. That's your rent payment. So please do not think about renting a warehouse or office as overhead expense. It is overhead expense, but it pays for itself expense. Next one is very big. It's credit cards. I did not have single credit card for the first 2 years in my business, and it was the best years because I learned how to manage cash. I remember ABC Supply offered me credit line because I didn't even have credit line with any of the suppliers, and everybody was shocked. I was paying out of pocket for all the expenses. It was the best thing ever. As a matter of fact, when I start getting credit cards for different reasons, I'm not against credit cards, and today I have plenty, but there's a skill involved to manage a credit card. Cash will teach you discipline and will make you a better business owner. If you can survive on cash for the first couple of years, that would be my recommendation. Because it's more important for me to be disciplined business owner than relying on all the loans. I know how easy it is to get a credit card. I know all the sales talks and all the benefits, American Express, Discover, all of them. But if you look and study the failure rate, the interest rates, and all of that, you will quickly figure out how much problems credit cards bring to the business owners. If you don't know how to manage them, it's a snake that will bite you. Now, again, you will manage credit cards and you will have to add credit cards later on. When you have employees, it's very easy to give employee credit card to buy gas versus debit card, but still you have to learn how to do it. And first year, my recommendation, don't even try. I already mentioned credit lines with the suppliers. Again, be extremely careful. It's super easy, easier than you think, to start falling beyond. And one of the biggest reasons people fail in this business is because they fall behind. This is the biggest bill that you will have in a business. And if you ruin that relationship, it will take you years to come out of the hole. You will learn your lesson from your mistake, but managing credit line is not an easy task. My recommendation is fix your business problems. Why do you even need credit line? I know a lot of you will say, well, I work with insurance companies and they have delays and stuff. But look at guys like Lee Haight and many other big storm chasers. Lee Haight owed like $6.5 million to ABC Supply, running $50 million business. And he's teaching that business model, which is broken. What you have to do is you have to go in your business and figure out why your receivables are 90 days or 120 days. You can't always blame someone else for your problems. You cannot blame insurance companies because this is your reputation. This is your name on the line. In 2015, 2016, I opened the first credit line with ABC Supply. And at the end of the season, when my sales dropped at the end of November, I did not have like $50,000, $60,000. I paid it. I settled with ABC, but it was a long journey for me. It was very stressful, not comfortable place. So it will affect you emotionally and it will affect, I would argue, your reputation, because business owner who cannot pay his bills will always have certain reputation. So don't be that guy. Please be very careful when you open those credit lines and try not to rely on them. Next on my list is marketing budget. I recommend 5% from your gross sales always to go to marketing budget. Don't stop advertising. When you're busy, when you're slow, it doesn't matter. If you make $100,000 in sales, put $5,000 back in the business in the form of marketing. It can be apparel, t-shirts, it could be vehicle wraps, it could be billboards, it could be Facebook ads or website, whatever you need that month. But when you stop advertising, your business essentially will start slowing down and you're not going to have leads. And this formula is the same, it'll never change. Even if you become a $100 million company, it will become cheaper at that level. You're probably going to be spending 3%, which is still $3 million. But I know companies who do those kind of numbers and they do about 5 million. So you can do 5 million to get $100 million or 3 to get 100. But in the beginning, 5% is the minimum. Some people say that 10% if you really want to grow. I think it's a borderline of becoming break even too early. So I would recommend 5%, and I'll tell you what I would do with other 5% a little bit later. Another big category that affects small roofing companies and sometimes even can take them out is sales commissions. I have a very strong opinion about splits. I don't recommend split profit with the sales reps. One of the main reasons is because you will have so many disputes and you will have to open books. It can be done, and there are definitely companies who are doing it well, but majority of the companies, especially in storm chasing industry, you will see that it fails more times than it works. And the reason is because when you open your books, you essentially lose all your leverage. Now your sales rep makes same amount of money as you do, and he knows the business ins and outs. And if you don't provide leads, if he has to bring business to you and do all the work, he does not need you. So it kills business on many levels. But I recommend 10, anywhere from 8 to 15% from gross sales. If you adopt this business model, I promise you, you will always have money, but contingent on your pricing. You have to control your pricing, make sure you're profitable and adjust it as you go. But 10, 12% to the sales rep of the top essentially will mean almost 50-50 split. The difference is you don't have to open books to them, but make sure that your salespeople get paid on all monies you receive. So I paid my guys on deposits, progress payments, any kind of payment that came from their job. If they give me deductible, they get commission from that. If they give me first check, they get commission from that. Money in, money out. So I usually pay people on Friday for previous week. I think about small business almost like a restaurant or McDonald's or bank. People like stability. They know that every Friday or every Thursday they have a check for previous week. It gives them motivation to bring more money, because if I bring business more money, next week I'm getting paid. Make sure you have a solid system how you're going to pay your commissions, because if you fall behind on commissions, now lawsuits going to start flying in. Now sales rep who owed $50,000, $60,000 is a pissed sales rep. Is going to affect your business. He might hire a lawyer to take you to court. He might go talk to your homeowners. So if you don't manage commissions well, it will also affect your reputation, your future sales, your state of mind. And the reason I'm making this video, I don't want you to go out of business, but all of these little things, little details that we don't think about, those are the reasons businesses are going out of business. It's not one or two things. It's a combination of things why 80% of roofing companies go out of business within 2 years. It's couple disputes here, it's behind on a bill here, and then you throw a towel. I'm like, I'm done with it. This is too hard. Don't be that guy. Make sure you're organized, pay people on time, manage that cash, and you will be unstoppable. Next one is paying employees. Extremely important category, because your employees, unlike your salespeople, do contribute to your overhead. I want to repeat that. Your employees are your overhead. Sales commissions are easy because it's just percentage of the job. You don't pay them if they don't bring value to you. Now, employees, on the other hand, you have to pay them every week, despite the fact that they might not be productive. But let's say you have 5 employees and you pay them $1,500 each. It's a $7,500 a week payroll. In order to pay $7,500 payroll, you have to produce $75,000 per week, on the field. That's a lot of production to pay for your overhead. So whether you put your salary, your managers, your receptionists, whoever you have in your office, they are your payroll, and it's always have to be less than 10% of your company overhead. If your overhead grows more than 10%, you're going to be in the red very, very quickly. I have seen people in this business having 20 employees when they only were doing $2 million a year. Right there, it's a formula for disaster. You can do $2-3 million in the roofing business having 2-3 people. So hire slow, fire fast, and make sure every person who you have on the team is helping you to increase sales, because if they are not, they're just a burden, and sooner or later it'll be the reason why you are in red and cannot pay commissions or cannot pay suppliers, because how you pay your employees and how many employees you have is extremely important. But 10% from gross sales, this is how much I have in the budget to pay my office personnel. Next, let's talk about vehicles. I love vehicles. I've owned over 100 vehicles, maybe 150 in past 17 years. A lot of them were in business. I love minivans. I love smart vehicles, because if you have a big ass truck, for every employee who works for you, even for people who don't need it. I was reading yesterday's post on Facebook. The guy was asking, how much is your weekly gas bill? And many comments came, 300, 400, 500. Why? When I started business, I started with a 2012 Jetta TDI. It's a diesel vehicle, small diesel. I have a letter on top. It was... it's almost like a mini SUV, but it's actually sedan, hatchback. So all my samples were in the back, letter was at the top, 45 miles per gallon. And the gas was over $3 even in 2013. So think about this. For every trip my competitor, business owner, or sales rep was making to the job site, I was making 3 trips. I was stretching my dollar. And in the first and second year in business, you have to stretch your dollar. If you have to have a truck, buy a smaller engine. Buy Dodge 1500. Dodge actually makes 3-liter engine. I love smaller utility vehicles. Mercedes makes one like smaller minivan, 2-liter, I think. You will be amazed how much money you will save on a smaller engines. It's all adds up. And I personally think you will look better. So try to avoid big tires, big trucks, because every dollar counts. Someone has to pay for it. So if you have 5 vehicles and you're spending $300-$400 on gas alone, not to mention more expensive insurance, more expensive maintenance, more expensive oil changes, $300-$400 a week per one vehicle. If you have 5 of them, that's $2,000, $2,500 a week. You have to do $25,000 worth of work just to fuel your vehicles. For me, it's just dumb spending. I would rather make profit and spend it on something else. Next category is subscriptions you have. It's your CRMs and all the digital tools and maybe even off digital. And here's the thing about those. I love subscriptions. I have probably 3-4 gym memberships. I have different programs from how to get abs, how to lose fat, how to do this. I go to 2 CrossFit gyms and I actually follow paid CrossFit programming. It helps me to become better. I love it. But in business, I always have been minimalist because every subscription you have adds to your bottom line. I do recommend CRMs. And as a matter of fact, I highly recommend 2 CRMs to this day. It's JobNimbus and Leap. It's a complete platform for professional contractors. For example, Leap is tools every professional contractor needs to move off paper, present a professional appearance, and win more jobs. I personally don't think you can be successful, truly successful, if you're not digital. That's why I always use JobNimbus. A lot of guys in my community use Job Progress. CRM that you use, it's not as important as how you use it. When I hear contractors complaining about something, I'm like, do you even use it? So do not sign up for something if you're only going to use basic functions like calendar or scheduling a job, right? But use tools that help you generate revenue. Like, for example, SumoQuote helps you present and be more presentable, literally win in jobs, increase your closing rate. JobNimbus will help you stay organized and make your people accountable. Directory, one of my main businesses, have a service when we review homeowners' estimates. And when the homeowner send us estimate, we tell them honest, true, who we think is the better option for them based on company reviews, what we see in writing, what materials they use, and stuff like that. It blows my mind how many of those are sent to us are handwritten. I just don't understand why we would do that. Technology is so cheap, but it does not mean that you have to have everything. The analogy I always make is a toolbox on a job site. I remember having my toolbox on the job site and having brain fart moments where I needed to cut, let's say, door jamb, and I have 5 different tools to do the same job. When you have too many options, you will fry your brain. So be careful how many tools you have. And when it comes to business, like, for example, Company Cam is a great tool, but your CRM might already have picture management software. And I'm not saying cancel Company Cam, but if you have something you're already paying for, like, for example, another stupid subscription I see roofers do, and they pay a couple $100 a month, which is insane, is for third party to generate reviews. This is something that you have to do. Now, if you have impressive conversion rate for your reviews with the company, keep using them. But I have seen the roofers who pay $300 a month for a subscription to help them get more reviews, and they would get 1-2 reviews per month. I mean, come on. That's $150 to $300 per review. If you cannot generate 1 or 2 reviews per month by yourself and you have to pay someone $300, I mean, it's a dumb tax to me. Analyze what you're paying for. Go through your subscriptions. Don't forget that it's all your overhead. And at the end, it will all contribute to your failure in business because it's all little things. It's not one or two things. We're almost at the end, and I left the most important one towards the end. Remember I told you about 5% marketing budget? Well, some people like to spend 10% on marketing. I recommend 5% because I also recommend spend at least 5% on something else, and that is education. Make sure you put money aside to educate yourself. I'm a conference junkie. I did not go to college in the United States. I'm educated from Russia. I have college and university. But when I started in the roofing business, I remember first couple of years, I could not afford. I did not budget going to expos, going to conference. And my first one, I believe it was 2017, I went to a roofing expo. International Roofing Expo, and changed everything I do. My YouTube channel was born, and there's so many things that I do today because of those conferences. I actually have a rule, and it never failed me. I can justify me going to the conference or attending some kind of seminar within first hour to max of the event. I'll give you an example. I went to Cleveland for Content Marketing World in 2018. And I met Marcus Sheridan. He was hosting this 4-hour breakout session for early visitors, for early attendees. And I bought VIP package. I mean, Marcus Sheridan alone changed my business in so many ways. And I remember sitting there. Conference have not even started yet. It starts tomorrow. But I'm sitting here meeting Marcus Sheridan. Later, I introduce him to my audience at the Roofing Process Conference. But I have to refill my cup before I fill others. It is true to my roofing business when I was running it. You cannot just give. You cannot just sell. You have to go and be sold and learn how you've been sold. You have to analyze yourself and learn from the best. I promise you this, if you go to conference like Roofing Process Conference, 1,500 attendees, you're going to learn from others. Usually what people tell me too, first couple hours, you can already justify the trip. Andy Lindis, owner of Lindis Construction here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. They're getting about 1,000 leads per month. Absolutely insane. $100 million company. Actually, talked to him this morning. Andy Lindis told me at Rodney Webb conference, I believe it was 2019, Dmitry, I already have like this 10 things I learned here that gonna multiply my business. And he brought 50 sales reps to that event. It cost him $2-3 grand per person, $150,000 investment. And this guy, who's already been running $70-80 million company at the time, still was learning, still was budgeting for stuff like that. That's what big companies do. And this is what I recommend you to do. Spend 5% on marketing and spend 5% of bettering yourself. Good 2 days conference equals to 6 months in college. I think it's overrated, and I think conferences are underrated. When you come back, 3-4 weeks, it's going to be just implementations of what you have learned. And then if you do it 2-3 times a year, you are unstoppable, my friend. And the last one for today, I know it's a long video, but it's an important one, is audits. You have to prepare for them. I have seen it so many times, especially in the subcontracting world, where subcontractor and oftentimes business owner gets audit at the end of the year and the bill is just too high. They panic. When you do $2-3 million and you break even and you never have more than $20,000, $30,000 in your account, and now you have a bill for $150,000, that will put you out of business. Or at the very least, it'll put a lot of stress on you and it's not going to be pretty. So what I recommend is budget for it. Understand what insurance audits are, work comp, general liability. Make sure you save for the rainy days. Do not abuse your business. Do not take more than you need to support your lifestyle. Keep as much cash in a business as possible until you close the calendar year and until the new year starts. Now, let's say you have $300,000 and at the end of the year, you can make buying decisions. You can buy trucks if you want. You can write yourself big fat check, or maybe do the audit first, because you will be surprised how expensive those can be. Audits, taxes, they all big bills, and you want to make sure you prepare for it. Guys, comment below what you think about the video. I read all of my comments. If you want more content like this, just ask me a question and I'll answer it in one of the next videos. And again, thank you so much for following. 100,000 subs for this channel in such a small niche as roofing is absolutely amazing. Forever grateful for you and hope I still bring value to your business. Comment below, give it a like for the algorithm. I'll see you in the next one.